I love the finals, and I'm not alone. It's brilliant, fast, and creative, but the player base is gone, and I don't think a 7th seasonal update is the answer. I think it needs some out of the box thinking, something bold. Let me show you. The finals is, on nearly every level, a design triumph. It didn't just iterate on existing shooter formulas, it rewrote them. It introduced mechanics and aesthetic choices that dared to stand apart from the sameness that plagues the genre. Do you know what's a hard gameplay mechanic to implement? Environmental destructibility. Once the fixation of our collective imagination for the future of gaming, we now rarely see AAA studios venture beyond the simplest environmental damage. Sure, we have some fun sandboxes being spit out by the indie games that are built around the mechanic, but think back to the last big budget game with good destructibility. For me, the last one I can recall is Red Faction Guerrilla, with impressive destruction to be sure, but take off those rose-tinted glasses for a moment and recall that Red Faction came out in 2009 and looked like this. You know what else is a hard gameplay mechanic to implement? First-person parkour. So yes, this one is a little easier to recall examples for. Dying Light and Mirror's Edge rocked, right? Fluidity of movement, verticality, and the constant feeling that you're Tony Hawk pulling off a skateboard kickflip with your body. Parkour was another one of those niche subgenres of gaming from the 2010s that felt so unique and cool. Parkour! Now close your eyes. Imagine a game that merges both ideas. Environmental destruction so advanced you can punch through walls and level buildings from the ground floor, completely unscripted. Paired with the parkour system built for momentum, with grappling hooks, jump pads, and movement tech that encourages expression. Imagine standing atop a skyscraper as your enemies blow out the foundations, forcing you to parkour your way down the crumbling structure as you reposition for the coming fight. Visually, the game is instantly memorable among its modern shooter peers, where the majority of shooters over the past 10 years have taken a so-called realistic approach, often inspired by real-world conflicts like the Middle East. The Finals doesn't lean on war porn for its visual identity. Instead, it strikes a balance between the overly serious military shooters and the cartoony, kid-friendly alternatives. The Finals presents itself as a game show, with bright lights and corporate bravado covering the digital arenas. The entire presentation revolves around this theme, casting the player-controlled characters as avatars of off-screen esports competitors. You're not some grizzled soldier fighting for nationalism, you're here to put on a show. Players battle over cash cubes in a capture the flag style format, and when killed, explode into coins rather than blood and gore. I don't know if anyone else is as exhausted as I am of the Call of Duty clones doubling as army propaganda, but it's an overly saturated theme at this point. The Finals isn't the only example of rejecting these two extremes. Apex Legends is another one that comes to mind, but it does stand above the others as a more cohesive visual and thematic package. Then, there's the destruction. The game launched with only 4 maps, later expanded to 6, focusing instead on making every environment fully destructible. Skyscrapers crumble, floors give way, and no position is truly ever safe. Think the tactical complexity of Rainbow Six Siege, but taken vertical and across entire city blocks. Most matches revolve around attacking or defending key objectives, and you're constantly fending off opponents as they blow out the floor beneath you, or drop grenades through the roof, or use abilities to phase the objective through the wall. In the Finals, no cover is permanent, no defense holds forever, and no matter how well your team coordinates, there's always another angle to worry about. It turns firefights into dynamic set pieces and rewards creativity in a way few shooters dare or are able to. The movement system reinforces this chaos beautifully. Grappling hooks, jump pads, and explosive traversal keep players in constant motion. It's not just about aim, it's about verticality, momentum, and map knowledge. The 3 weight classes, light, medium, and heavy, aren't just cosmetic choices, they define how you play. Heavies excel at the large-scale destruction and area control, while mediums and lights can sneak, flank, and scale objectives to outmaneuver the enemy. As I mentioned, the main game mode revolves around team-based cash-outs. Teams of 3 compete to pick up, deposit, and defend a cash-out station. If another team steals your deposit before it completes, the timer becomes theirs. The first team to 2 successful cash-outs wins. This creates tense, high-stakes shootouts as you desperately try to pull off a last-second heist and snatch victory from another team. It's not just about the kills. In fact, This mode doesn't even reward kills beyond a delayed respawn. Instead, it's about timing, strategy, and creative teamwork. In a sea of lifeless and homogenized shooters, the finals is electric. That makes its downfall all the more tragic. Despite industry-leading achievements, the finals stumbled after launch, not because of one catastrophic flaw, but from a series of missed opportunities, slow updates, and more importantly, a brutal environment that kills even the most promising games. I can't emphasize enough how close this game came to becoming a true staple of the shooter genre. But the one thing a multiplayer game needs above all else is players. And it's a desperate fight for popularity, and people are lazy, and change is hard. Now to backpedal for a second, I'm not blaming you personally for what happened to the finals. But much like a sporting event, there are only so many spots on the podium, and to take one, you have to knock someone else out of the way. For many players, the first roadblock was the skill flaw. The game's speed and destructibility, while exhilarating, create a steep learning curve. With dozens of weapons, movement options, grenades, powers, and utilities, new players were thrown into high-intensity matches with almost no guidance. There was some room to learn on the fly, but with no proper onboarding or tutorial to ease you into the chaos. This problem has only gotten worse over time, with fewer players meaning a less even skill distribution per match. These days, when I play, which I still do because I love the game, every second or third match ends up being dominated by one guy getting dozens of kills while 360 no-scoping everyone with ease. Balance issues also plagued the early weeks of the game's launch. Dominant loadouts emerged fast, creating a meta that felt stale and punishing. Without quick adjustments or a steady patch cadence, players were stuck fighting the same battles over and over. An example of this are the heavies, which have always been, by far, the worst class. Sure, it's fun to mix up your playstyle, but man, trying to move as a heavy feels like one of those dreams where your legs don't work, and in a game as dynamic as this, you cannot be lagging behind. The finals isn't the only victim of this cycle. The multiplayer landscape is littered with games that show up, show promise, and then vanish. Not because they're bad games, but because in this current climate, even good games can't survive without a near-perfect storm of support, attention, and retention strategies. By now, so few players are active that only the quick play mode I described earlier can reliably fill a lobby. I've waited for over an hour in queue for the other modes before giving up entirely. New modes have been added in seasonal updates to mix things up, but the player count just doesn't support them after a launch week. With no campaign, no offline mode, and no real way to engage with the world beyond PvP, there was nothing left to do once this downward spiral began. The live service model demands constant engagement, something the finals is quickly losing. So when the hype cooled off and the streamers moved on, the servers began to empty. Not because the game failed, but because the ecosystem around it did. What the finals needs now isn't more content drops, it needs a fresh way to utilize its superb mechanics. A way to capitalize on its strengths, giving the dwindling player base something new to engage with, and maybe even pull in fresh players. The finals needs a single player story mode. Okay, I know, I'm asking for a lot. A single player campaign would take tremendous development time and cost, but just bear with me while I pitch the hypothetical. We wouldn't need to reinvent the wheel, keep the core gameplay, reuse the existing maps or design a handful of new ones. Add a few cinematics to set the stage, and that's it, we're off. Now picture this. A story mode set inside the Bloodsport dystopia. You're not just a contestant, you're a whistleblower, pulling back the curtains on twisted machinery behind the show. This theme is already baked into the marketing and seasonal updates. Maybe you start off chasing glory like everyone else, only to stumble onto the truth beneath the spectacle. It's a layered narrative that could explore the commodification of violence, fame as currency, and the cost of rebellion. The missions practically write themselves. Break into a collapsing tower to steal corporate secrets. Defend a cash-out vault against waves of security. Escape a rigged stadium before it caves in around you. Scripted destruction sequences. Think Titanfall 2's set pieces, but with the finals chaos engine. Throw in some AI teammates with actual personalities, a ragtag crew trying to break free from the system. In a perfect world, maybe we even get some bigger maps with open-ended objectives like Warzone's DMZ mode. The potential's obvious. The tools are already in place. The cutting-edge tech, a slick art direction, and mechanical systems dying to be put to better use. A campaign wouldn't just elevate the game, it would give people something to latch onto emotionally. It would anchor the whole experience beyond cosmetics and sweaty PvP. Give us even a short 4-stage campaign with a scoring system, and I swear I'll be uploading speedruns within a week. And maybe, just maybe, it would have saved the finals from its slow fade into obscurity. But what would I know? I'm not a dev, I just like video games. The finals was edging on greatness. It dared to be different, and for a moment, it felt like we had cracked the code. But in the unforgiving landscape of live service games, even innovation isn't enough. We, as a community, are complicit. We demand greatness and novelty, but give games no time to grow beyond these expectations. We chase trends and discard what doesn't instantly dominate. The saddest part? The finals worked. It did what we've been asking for. New ideas, new gameplay, and a polished execution. And we let it down. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy watching my critique of Days Gone, link in the description or on screen now. Also, let me know down in the comments, have you played the finals, and would you come back for a single player update? Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay cool.
Runway ready by beating the competition in this match. On behalf of all of us here at the finals, thanks for watching.